what do we think about what's happening at Brewdog then?
Well, I think for me, I mean, Brewdog, I think I need to really make the point clear and emphatic right from the off here that Brewdog has been a company I have had complete admiration for many years, and particularly over the last few years when we've seen it going through the geometric growth. I mean, let's be honest here. What that company has achieved from what is effectively trying to convince the world that everybody should be drinking craft beer. You know, you've got two guys started in a back shed or something up in Fraserburgh, up in the Broch, up in the Highlands of Scotland. You know, they go and old containers or something were their first brewery, and they proudly, tell everybody that story. Well, the reality is, anybody that's actually tried their beer, the beer still tastes like it's coming out of a diesel can that's washed up out from the North Sea. It's bloody awful. So as a company, what they've managed to do in terms of convincing the world that shite is gold is pretty remarkable. And I have nothing but admiration at what they've managed to do and achieve and get to where they are across the globe and convince everybody that this stuff, even ale drinkers, real ale drinkers don't like it. It's rubbish. So I don't know who the market is. The ale market, the people that are the young, punky type, they don't drink ale. They don't drink ale. Who are you kidding on? You know what I mean? They might like the thought of it, maybe have a pint or something. Or the older guys that are real ale drinkers wouldn't thank you for a can of Brewdog because it's rubbish as far as they're concerned. And people like me in my 40s wouldn't thank you for we're 1.5 pinters. Then we go into wine or something else because we're bagged up. That's where we are in the life cycle. So what they've done, what they've managed to achieve as a company is nothing short of remarkable. And these guys that drive it, that started it, that is entrepreneurism to the max. They built the business based on everything around controversy, and they've managed to leverage the brand, convince the world that you should be a craft ale drinker. Come on, it's not rubbish, absolute rubbish, as far as I'm concerned, and that's my opinion on it. But from a business point of view, up to now, they've been a real positive, and to come from the northeast of Scotland, just up the road from us, really nothing but admiration for the company. And clearly, they've hit a bit of a troubled times now. Be interesting to see how they deal with it. But we wouldn't be Scottish, and the way that I want to show my admiration to these guys is by doing what we do, which is rip the piss right out of them when we can. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm inviting others to come with me. Let's join in and let's rip the piss right out Brewdog and give them what they give others and jump on their bandwagon, and let's show them how much we love them.
So that's in typical Scottish fashion. We take the piss out of those that we love the most.
That's it.
So Brewdog they're our pals. We love what they do. We're not going to comment on those things in the article. We're just saying we're going to take the piss out of them while we get a chance, because actually, we don't get much of a chance to take the piss out of these guys because they do so damn well all the time. Yeah,
I think. Look, the reality is, but for the grace of God, that can happen to us. It can happen to any company out there in the world trading today. And as an entrepreneur, you put yourself up there to be shot at. They are the pioneers, the brewneers, and all of that stuff. And I think, and they're going to get shot. You got to take the good with the bad. They've hit it bad. I am not, in any way trying to, make fun of, people who have clearly been upset by this, some of these ex-employees. But what I will tell you is that it's 100 folk out of a 2,000, plus amount of employees across the board. When you've got companies going through geometric growth, the pains that goes with, the troubles that does, and it's happened to every successful company ever in history, that you go through that and you kind of lose track and you steer back again. Most of the time, when you're shooting for the moon, you're off track. You've got to bring it back on course. You're getting pushed all over the place. Brewdog will have been getting hammered. They're in an industry that is dominated by the big players, and they've been able to capture a market share, like I said, by having the ability to convince people that shine's gold. They're selling liquid gold. And, I find it a really, really inspiring, cracking story and cracking business for what these guys have achieved.
Yeah, and it gets back to that argument that should the culture adapt to fit the staff, or vice versa? Should the staff be adapting to fit in with the culture? When these guys are growing at such a ridiculous pace, do they have time to take stock and take the pulse of what the culture is? It's a natural, it's an organic thing. I don't think it's actively managed. I don't think these guys would have the time to actively manage it, and I don't think they would claim that they probably have actively managed the internal culture at the business. But do the staff have a responsibility there to? Well, you knew what it was. These are the guys that dropped stuffed cats over London by chartering a helicopter. Do you really think they were going to be the fluffy employers that you hoped they'd be?
Yeah, I think the thing is, ultimately they're the leaders. They're the guys that are steering the ship. So ultimately, everything comes back to us as the leader. We've got to accept the responsibility. They need to accept the responsibility for the culture. But when you are growing, it's just not possible. There's nobody, no business owner, no entrepreneur in the world that's just going to have it smooth things all the time. Clearly, that's the culture. Their business, ambitious, controversial. That's what it creates. But at times you make mistakes. You got to correct them, and you move on again. You don't let it. You just got to deal with it. But what would you rather do? Get everything right and never grow the business? They're up against behemoths in the world. Massive, massive industry. You look at some of the big brewing companies globally throughout the world that these guys are trying to compete with. They'll have been bullied, hammered, picked on, all of that stuff. They're in an environment whereby it's cutthroat, dog eat dog. So it's difficult to play both sides, and I'm not justifying it because they've got clearly there's no smoke. I don't know enough about it. All I know is it's brilliant because there's a controversy at Brewdog and I'm on them. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm starting a new company right on the back of what's happening here with Brewdog. So Brewit Big Style Limited is my new venture. I'm looking at using the water coming from the Swanee Ponds in Dundee, because if it's good enough for those elegant, beautiful creatures that are the swans that have been there for many years, I think it's good enough. It's good enough for us. It's good enough for me. And I'm sure we can dominate the world. And Dundee City Council, I'm hoping, will be happy to be in business with me doing it. I think it'll be as soon as they can work out how they can tax the rainwater falling into the Swanee ponds. So, but I'm not wasting any time. I'm cracking on with this now. And I think the Swanee ponds, actually, for me, it is how businesses operate. You're all looking cool and calm and collected up above, but underneath the water, we're paddling like hell. We're paddling like hell. And I've no doubt Brewdog are doing that right now. But I'm coming after them. I'm a way to cut their grass. I'm going to take advantage of their situation that they find themselves in. Because if they can dominate the world with water from an old diesel can in Fraserburgh, the Broch, I'm positive we can do double better than that, coming from the wonderful Stobswell area of Dundee and the beautiful Swanee Ponds.
So it looks like you're motoring on. Then you've got the idea. You're focused on it. You're going for it. You're going to learn from these guys' mistakes. There was a few claims in that letter that perhaps they'd said some things out loud. They'd made claims in the press that they'd sent beer abroad and things, where actually these guys are claiming they hadn't.
Like, by the way, tomorrow morning, first thing, 9 o'clock, I'm going to go down. I'm changing my name by deed poll to Brewit Big Style. Laptop. No more Graeme Carling. I'm changing my name. Brewit Big Style. Robert Carling. That's going to be my name from Monday. So I'm changing my name by deed. Because you're right. Look, it makes sense. The whole thing makes sense. Also, I think I have friends in Russia, in Moscow, and they've been looking. They've been sitting waiting on their beer delivery. Never seen it. Now I'm going to make an offer to the guys. Clearly, it's been it's been lost in distribution across there. But I know people, so I can get people on the hunt for it if they just need to pick the phone up and ask me, and I can make a couple of phone calls. And I've got some KGB guys, ex-KGB guys, that can help us tracking down this shipment of beer that has gone missing for a long time, it would appear.
Good. So that's first thing we're gonna you're gonna change the name. You're gonna track down this mystery beer that's went missing on the way to Russia, and then it's world domination.
It's world domination. We're going to capitalise on Brewdog's misfortune. Hey, why wouldn't we? You know what I'm saying? And I hope others will have the same plan. Let's get after Brewdog. Let's cut their grass. Anybody that's got an old barrel in their shed, anybody that's got an old plastic container, get out there. Let's make some beer and let's dominate this world. Because if they can do it, anyone can do it.
Brilliant. Okay, and so you're learning from them. You're going to learn from their mistakes. You're going to fix the things that these guys in the letter have claimed they've done. We're not going to fall in the same mistakes. And if they could say what they want to say, now they're a big company now. They've got some money in the bank, like private cash, so they can't say exactly what they want to say all the times anymore. And what do you think they really want to be saying just now?
Well, they certainly don't want to be saying what they're saying. Put it that way. It's actually, I feel a bit clearly they've been given some advice. What they're saying is not what they're about. That's not what Brewdog's about. Sort of pandering, not really saying too much. Kind of, taking the neutral, and we're going to learn and we're going to do this. What they really want to say is, fuck off. We're running at 100 miles an hour. It's tough out there. We're fighting like hell. We've just came through a pandemic. Businesses are going bust. But the brewery, the retail, the leisure, the hospitality sectors have been decimated throughout the world. They've just been working harder, longer than they've ever done. And nobody's feeling sorry for them. Nobody's feeling sorry for them. So what they're really saying, you're joking me. At this time, you're hitting us with this. Now, again, I'm not diminishing what the people are saying because they clearly feel strongly enough to come out with that. But for the grace of God, it can happen to any business and any entrepreneur out there. So we need to be very careful of what that is. That's why there's employment law and ways about going. And if people have been unfairly treated, that's why there's laws in place that you go down that process. But for them to go there, it's been done with maximum impact to Brewdog. And Brewdog are saying, really, you're hitting us. I think what they really like to say is you're hitting us with that now. And by the way, 99.5% of the people are not saying that. So they're, and they can't come out and say that because, they're a big business now. They've got investment funders throughout the world. And, the guys, the owners or the ex-owners, the two founders, own less than half the shares now. By the way, and so they've got to be very careful what they're saying, which it goes against the culture that Brewdog is and all about. So it's for them, it's a tough one. It'll be interesting to see what comes out going forward. But in the meantime, I'm going to take the piss out of them. I'm going to start my own beer company.
Brilliant. Well, we'll look forward to that, and we'll have that first can of Swanee Ponds brew soon.
Soon. Perfect. You'll only have one can because if it's any like Brewdog, you won't fucking have another one.
You'll certainly not remember it the next day.
No. And I'm going to get my cult. I'm going to get my cult following. The Swanee Ponders. The Swanee Ponders. We're going to have global craft ale domination everywhere. Wherever you go to these micro breweries, you go up. The next time I go to Kilimanjaro or Everest, I want to see Swanee Ponds beer getting sold by the wee huts on the way up the hills. That's my plan.